Britain opens 4 million cans of baked beans every single day. 4 million. We put them on toast, we put them next to sausages, we give them to children as a safe, simple, healthy meal. We have eaten them without question for generations. Here is what we have not been asking. How much of what is in that can is actually tomato? How much of the sweetness is added sugar, and how much is a cheaper sweetener that doesn't have to be called sugar on the label? Who owns the brand you've been loyal to since childhood, and what have they done to it since they bought it? Today we audit 10 of the most widely bought baked bean brands in the UK, ranking them from worst to best on sugar content, salt levels, ingredient quality, and the corporate behaviour of the companies behind them. We have 2 verdict boards coming, one at the halfway point, one at the end, so you can see exactly where every brand lands before you go near a supermarket shelf again. Let's open some cans. Number 10, Heinz beans. Sugar, 5g/100g nights salt, 0.6g/100g nights tomato, 34% 9 additives, modified corn flour 9 ethics. There is no brand more associated with baked beans in Britain than Heinz. 70% market share. The blue can. The white lettering. A product so embedded in national identity it has its own cultural shorthand. Heinz beans are not just a food, they are a memory, which makes what has happened behind the scenes so worth understanding. Heinz is owned by Kraft Heinz, created by a 2015 merger engineered by Brazilian private equity firm 3G Capital. Their strategy, zero-based budgeting, where every cost must be justified from scratch every year. Marketing budgets gutted, R&D slashed, 17,000 jobs eliminated globally. And then came the product changes. Documented evidence shows Kraft Heinz put more sauce and fewer beans in each can. Not announced, not labelled, just quietly done. The financial verdict, a $15.4 billion brand write-down. Market cap collapsed from nearly $70 billion to under $32 billion. In Britain, Tesco publicly pulled Heinz products from its shelves after Heinz demanded price increases Tesco called unjustifiable. Baked beans, ketchup and salad cream disappeared from stores. Tesco told customers it had plenty of alternatives. Heinz eventually blinked. But the standoff revealed exactly what kind of company is behind that blue can. The product, 5g sugar per 100g, 6g salt, 34% tomatoes, modified corn flour, nutritionally acceptable, corporately, a very different story. Red flags, private equity ownership, documented shrinkflation, price gouging standoff with UK's biggest supermarket. 15.4 BN brand write-down, fewer beans per can than a decade ago. Number 9, Branston baked beans. Sugar, 5.9Gs 100Gs salt, 0.8Gs/100Gs tomato, 37% additives, modified maize starch ethics. Branston positions itself as the superior alternative to Heinz, the challenger brand, the one that came top in blind taste tests. It does have more tomato than Heinz, 37% versus 34%. The sauce is slightly richer, but flip the can. Sugar, 5.9 grams per 100g. The highest of any mainstream brand on this list. Higher than Heinz, higher than every supermarket-owned brand. Nearly 6 grams of sugar per 100g of what is marketed as a healthy, savoury food. Salt, 0.8 grams per 100g, the highest of any named brand tested. A standard half-can serving contains nearly a gram of salt, in a food British parents routinely give toddlers as a safe, nutritious option. Branston is owned by Mizkan, a Japanese conglomerate that also owns Sarson's Vinegar and Hayward's Pickles. The British challenger brand is owned by an overseas conglomerate whose primary market is Japan. The product contains modified maize starch standard, but combined with the highest sugar and salt on this list, Branston's nutritional profile is harder to defend than its marketing suggests. Coming top in a taste test is not the same as being the best product. Sweet and salty things tend to win taste tests. That is exactly what Branston is. Red flags, highest sugar content of any mainstream brand, 5.9/100g. Highest salt content of named brands, 0.8g/100g. Japanese conglomerate ownership, modified starch thickener. Number 8, Aldi Bramwell's baked beans. Sugar 4.5g/100g salt, 0.61g/100g tomato, 6% pure in additives, glucose-fructose syrup plus sugared and ethics. Aldi wins almost every food audit in Britain. Their sausages top the which? Meat content tables. Their premium ranges outperform rivals at twice the price. So it might surprise you to see Bramwell's Aldi's baked bean brand at number 8. Here is why. Tomato content. Heinz uses 34%, Branston uses 37%. Aldi Bramwell's uses 6% tomato pure, 6%, in a product where the tomato sauce is the entire point. Aldi is using less than a fifth of Heinz's tomato and compensating with water, modified maize starch, and thickeners. Then there is the sweetener situation. Most brands use sugar. Aldi Bramwell's uses glucose-fructose syrup alongside sugar-2 sweeteners where one would do. Glucose-fructose syrup is a cheaper processed sweetener that doesn't have to be called sugar on the label. It behaves like sugar in the body and is used here not for any nutritional reason, but to sweeten a product cheaply. Aldi's corporate ethics are strong. The problem is specifically this product. The tomato content is too low and the dual sweetener is a red flag that the budget positioning has gone too far. Red flags: only 6% tomato pure versus 34% in Heinz. Glucose-fructose syrup used as a secondary sweetener. Modified starch. Low tomato authenticity for a tomato sauce product. Number 7, Asda own brand baked beans. Sugar, Li 4.8g/100gh salt, Li 0.6g/100gh tomato, low in additives, modified starch, flavor enhancers, stench ethics. Asda's own brand baked beans are a product designed around one objective: price. Modified starch to thicken a sauce without enough tomato. Flavor enhancers to compensate for the lack of real tomato intensity. Sugar and salt calibrated to make the product taste like something without costing what something tastes like. The corporate context makes this worse. Asda is owned by private equity with an annual debt interest bill exceeding $400 million. Every penny squeezed from own brand baked beans flows towards servicing that debt. The customer is buying a product formulated not to be good, but to be cheap enough to make the margin work. Not dangerous, not a scandal, simply the product of a business that is no longer primarily interested in food. Red flags: low tomato content, modified starch and flavor enhancers. Private equity ownership with heavy debt burden influencing product quality, minimal sourcing transparency. Number 6, Tesco own brand baked beans. Sugar, Shi 4.6g/100g as salt, Shi 0.6g/100g as tomato, low, medium and additives, modified starch ethics. Tesco own brand sits marginally above Asda, the tomato content is slightly higher and there are no flavor enhancers. Modified starch is still present. The sugar and salt are comparable to the budget tier. The Tesco baked bean story is interesting for one reason. This is the supermarket that stood up to Heinz and one that publicly refused to pass on unjustifiable price increases and told customers its own product was good enough to replace the blue can. On the shelf, that claim is broadly defensible. The Tesco bean is functional and honest about what it is, it just isn't built toward a standard, it's built toward a price. Red flags: low medium tomato content. Modified starch. Same CMR loyalty card investigation concerns as Heinz regarding price transparency. Verdict Board Part 1. 6 brands in. Here is where they sit. Heinz, fewer beans per can than a decade ago. A $15 billion corporate write-down. A price standoff Tesco had to win on your behalf. The nostalgia is real. The product behind it is not what it was. Rethink. Branston won the taste test because it is the sweetest and saltiest bean on this list. Highest sugar. Highest salt. Avoid. Aldi Bramwell's. 6% tomato in a tomato sauce. 2 sweeteners. Even Aldi's strongest category is let down by this product. Rethink. Asda own brand. Private equity ownership in a baked bean, modified starch, flavor enhancers, low tomato. Avoid. Tesco own brand. Marginally cleaner than Asda. Still built to a price. Rethink. The top 4 are coming. At least one is going to change how you think about what a baked bean should be. Number 5. Sainsbury's own brand baked beans. Sugar, mine 4.4g/100 gg salt, mine 0.58 g/100 gg tomato, medium men additives, modified starch versus ethics. Sainsbury's own brand baked beans are the first product on this list that feels like it is trying rather than just existing. The sugar content is slightly lower than the branded rivals, the salt is marginally reduced. The tomato content is higher than the budget supermarket brands. Modified starch is still present. It is difficult to find a mainstream canned bean without it, but the overall ingredient list is shorter and cleaner than the bottom 5. No flavor enhancers. No dual sweetener system. The limitation is the corporate one. Sainsbury's has been documented inflating non-loyalty prices and quietly cutting its Aldi price match range. The own brand baked bean is a decent product sold by a company that has repeatedly demonstrated it prioritizes margin over transparency. At this price point, the Sainsbury's bean is a reasonable option, but it is outclassed by everything above it on this list. Amber flags, modified starch present. Moderate tomato content, Sainsbury's corporate pricing practices a concern. Green flags, lower sugar than branded rivals. Shorter ingredient list than budget supermarket tier. Number 4. HP baked beans. Sugar, Saks 4.2g/100 gn salt, Saks 0.55 g/100 gn tomato, medium-high iron additives, minimal iron ethics. HP beans sit in a curious position on this list. The product is genuinely cleaner than standard Heinz lower sugar, lower salt, shorter ingredient list, higher tomato content. It is the best product in the Kraft Heinz portfolio by nutritional measure. The problem is that it is in the Kraft Heinz portfolio. The same 3G capital corporate history, the same zero-based budgeting legacy, the same shrinkflation track record. Buying HP beans instead of Heinz because the product is better is entirely reasonable, the numbers support it. But the money still goes to the same place. What HP beans demonstrates is that Kraft Heinz knows how to make a better product. The standard Heinz formulation is not the result of technical limitation, it is the result of a cost decision. The company that makes HP beans and Heinz beans chose to make Heinz the way it is. That is worth knowing. Amber flags, same Kraft Heinz corporate ownership as standard Heinz. Same ethical concerns apply. Green flags, lower sugar than standard Heinz. Cleaner ingredient list. Higher tomato content. Better nutritional profile than any Kraft Heinz product below it on this list. Number 3. Heinz no added sugar and salt beans. Sugar, 1.900 gh salt, 0.4 g/100 gh tomato, 34% additives, stevia sweetener Nike ethics. The same Heinz, the same factory near Wigan, the same blue can just with different lettering, and dramatically different numbers. Standard Heinz, 5g sugar per 100g, 0% 6g salt, no added sugar and salt Heinz, 1.9g sugar per 100g, 0.4g salt. The sugar has been reduced by more than half, the salt has been cut by a third, the tomato content remains the same at 34%. This is what Heinz could have been doing all along. The technology exists, the factory can do it. The decision to keep the standard product at 5g sugar is not a technical constraint, it is a commercial one. Customers are accustomed to the sweetness. Changing the recipe risks the sale, so the standard product stays sweet and salty, and the reduced version sits next to it on the shelf at a slight premium for the customers who read labels. The sweetener used in the reduced version is stevia, a plant-derived sweetener that is broadly considered safe and which most nutrition researchers regard as preferable to sugar at the quantities involved here. Some people notice a slight aftertaste. Most do not. The corporate concerns remain. This is still Kraft Heinz, still 3G Capital's legacy. Still the company that put more sauce and fewer beans in the can, but as a product, in isolation, the no added sugar and salt version is significantly better than the standard, and it deserves to be recognized for that. Amber flags, same Kraft Heinz corporate ownership. Stevia aftertaste for some consumers. Green flags, sugar reduced from 5g to 1.9g per 100g. Salt reduced from 0.6g to 0.4g. Same tomato content as standard. A meaningfully better nutritional product. Number 2, M&S Simply Food Baked Beans. Sugar, 3.7 Gs 100 GH salt, 0.65 G/100 Gs tomato, high in additives, corn flour, garlic oil and ethics. M&S baked beans are the best mainstream supermarket own brand baked bean available in Britain. That is not a subjective opinion, the numbers support it. Sugar, 3.7 G per 100 G. Lower than Heinz standard. Lower than Branston. Lower than every own brand competitor except the reduced sugar versions. And this is the standard product, not a reduced version with a sweetener substituted in. The ingredient list: beans, tomatoes, water, sugar, salt, corn flour, vegetable oils, garlic oil, dried onions, paprika and spices, no modified maize starch, no glucose-fructose syrup, no flavor enhancers, no preservatives. The beans are kept safe by sealing the can and heat treating them the way canned food is supposed to work. Garlic oil in a baked bean is a small detail that matters. It signals a recipe built around flavor rather than cost. The tomato content is among the highest of any brand tested. The overall ingredient list is the shortest of any mainstream product. M&S has topped the Which? Supermarket Food Quality Survey for 4 consecutive years. The baked bean is a direct expression of why. This is a product built to a standard, sold by a company that has consistently invested in product quality rather than cutting costs to fund a debt pile. Green flags: 3.7 G sugar, lowest of any standard mainstream bean. No modified starch. No flavor enhancers. No preservatives. Garlic oil. Short ingredient list. Which? Top-rated supermarket. Number 1, Hodmedod's British Baked Beans. Sugar, low in salt, low as tomato, high in additives, none in ethics. Everything else on this list has one thing in common: the beans are not British. Haricot beans, the standard baked bean variety, are not grown in the UK at commercial scale. Every can of Heinz, Branston, M&S, Aldi, Asda and Tesco uses imported beans. From Canada, from North Africa, from wherever the commodity price is lowest at the time of purchase. Hodmedod's uses British fava beans, a variety grown in the UK for centuries, nutritionally superior to haricot beans, with higher protein content, higher fibre, and a lower carbon footprint because they haven't been shipped across an ocean. The company works directly with British farmers, pays a fair price, and publishes its supply chain. The can is BPA-free, the only brand on this list that has removed the chemical lining that most canned food uses and which some research has associated with hormonal disruption. The ingredient list: British fava beans, water, tomato pure, onion, rapeseed oil, apple cider vinegar, sugar, sea salt, paprika, mustard, 11 ingredients. Every one of them recognizable. No modified starch, no glucose-fructose syrup, no flavor enhancers, no preservatives. Ethical Consumer, Britain's leading independent ethical rating organisation, gives Hodmedod's its highest rating in the baked bean category, which has highlighted it as the standout ethical choice. It is sold in Waitrose, Ocado and independent health food retailers. It costs more than Heinz. Of course it does. The beans are British, the farm is named, the can is BPA-free. The supply chain is transparent. When you pay more for a Hodmedod's can, you know exactly what you are paying for. This is what a British baked bean should be. And it always has been, we just forgot to ask for it. Green flags: only brand using British-grown beans. BPA-free can. Fully transparent supply chain. No modified starch, no glucose-fructose syrup, no preservatives. Highest ethical rating in category. Named farm sourcing. Short, recognizable ingredient list. Verdict board part 2. Here is the full board. Sainsbury's own brand, a step above the budget tier, lower sugar than the named brands, still built around modified starch, and a supermarket that has been caught inflating prices. Rethink, but the best of the supermarket own labels. H. Beans, cleaner than standard Heinz. Lower sugar, shorter list, better tomato content. Still Kraft Heinz money. If you're buying in this price bracket and you want the best Kraft Heinz product, this is it. Buy with the Kraft Heinz caveat noted. Heinz no added sugar and salt. More than half the sugar of the standard can. A third less salt. Same tomatoes. This is the version Heinz should have been making all along. If you are buying Heinz, buy this one. Buy M&S Simply Food. The best mainstream supermarket baked bean in Britain. Lowest sugar of any standard product. No modified starch. Garlic oil. Shortlist. Which? Top rated. Buy, and the clear winner Hodmedod's British baked beans. British fava beans. BPA-free can. Named farms. Transparent supply chain. No additives. The only brand on this list that asks the obvious question, why are we shipping beans from Canada when we can grow them here? And answered it. Best Buy. The 60-second British baked bean buyer protocol next time you are standing in front of the beans aisle. Run these 5 checks before anything goes in the basket. Check 1 sugar PER 100G above 5G, high. You are eating a sweet product marketed as savoury. 3 5G, moderate. Acceptable for occasional use. Under 3.5G, low. The best products on this list sit here. Check 2 tomato content under 10% tomato or tomato pure listed low in ingredients. The source is mostly water and thickener. Drop it. 20-34% tomato, standard. Functional 35% tomato, or fresh tomato passata, you are buying a real tomato sauce. Check 3 sweetener, check glucose-fructose syrup on the label, a processed sweetener used instead of or alongside sugar. Drop it. 2 sweeteners listed. Double the sweetener load, half the transparency. Sugar only or no added sugar with stevia, straightforward. Acceptable, check for modified starch, modified maize starch, or modified corn flour as a primary ingredient. The sauce doesn't have enough tomato to thicken naturally. They are compensating with a cheap thickener. No modified starch or corn flour only in small quantity. The tomato is doing its job. Check 5 who owns it. Kraft Heinz, the company that documented lie put fewer beans and more sauce in the can to cut costs. Tesco had to publicly fight them on your behalf. Japanese or overseas conglomerate, no active harm, but no UK food accountability either. Independent, British-owned, transparent supply chain, your money stays closer to where the food came from. The rule, if it fails checks 1 and 3, put it back. High sugar and a secondary sweetener in a savoury food is not a value product. It is a cheap product designed to taste like something it isn't. 4 million cans a day, most of them opened by people who had no idea the biggest brand quietly put fewer beans in the can. That its most beloved competitor has the highest sugar of any mainstream brand. That the budget version uses 6% tomato in a tomato sauce. The beans are not the problem. Beans are genuinely one of the healthiest foods in the British diet, high fibre, high protein, low fat. The problem is what some of these companies have done with them. One brand at the top of this list is using British beans from British farms in a BPA-free can with a supply chain you can read about on their website. Open that one instead. Subscribe, share this with someone who has had Branston for years thinking it was the healthy choice. Check back for the next audit.